Well, thank you for coming last week. It was really great. I hope you guys learned a lot from Goya from ANC. This week we have a guest speaker, Stepan Partamian.
Who is he?
Who are you, Stepan?
Just Stepan.
Controversial person.
No.
That's all I know. I can't say anything negative or positive about him.
Rebel rouser. I'm not controversial. Whenever you talk about the truth, it doesn't become controversial.
Well, for some people it is controversial. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, for some of you it might be controversial. For me it is. At least I don't want to say anything. Because
I won't bash you.
I see him every now and then he might bash me on TV or something. So.
Namaskar.
Yeah.
The other. Two parallel lanes. One is diaspora, one is Armenia. You guys are the diaspora. I used to be diaspora, and I'm from Armenia. Check. Now, this is not geometry, by the way. See this lane going like this? It's a perfect lane. Armenia has it never crosses to each other, by the way. Even though you came from Armenia, I came from Armenia, or I left from diaspora to Armenia, it doesn't cross each other. Each one has a myth about the other one. And for, what, 7,000 years right now, we do the same. In the diaspora, vay Hayastan sabattanem, aşkardan stisaradil mansiyun kakakşira. In Armenia, wow, America, dollar, green card, America. Good cards, I have future in America, I have no future in Armenia. See, they're all myths about each other. They might sound very real, but they're all myths created in each one of us about what the other one is. And that's how unfortunate we Armenians are. We are so proud of Armenia. I guarantee you there are countries in Africa much better situation than Armenia. But I chose to live in Armenia. Not because it is Ashkari Amina Kerentsikia, no, Ashkari Amina Kerentsikia. But I chose to live there. So being an Armenian and being a patriot, or being whatever you want to call the title that's given, it's a choice. Your mom, your father is Armenian doesn't mean that you're an Armenian. Don't give me that BS. Don't give me the BS. You become Armenian. That's the biggest BS. By the way, the latest Remax salesperson from Lebanon arrived, and he already sold 2 prime locations in heaven to 2 idiot families in Los Angeles. One gave $100,000, the other gave $250,000 for a prime property in heaven. No, Jesus is busy in Armenia right now. So,
That's a joke.
well, that's a joke, but that's reality. Armenians believe in what's going to happen after they die. We always tend to sacrifice everything right now because when I die, I'm going to be next to Jesus and Mariam and all the boyfriends and all the girlfriends. And that's how unfortunate we live life on planet Earth. Because we as Armenians, we've been bombarded with the idea that after that, we're going to prosper. We're going to have eternity, life, whatever, Chemki-Deri. So, I made the, for 49 years, by the way, I'm celebrating my 50th birthday next year, September 12th, but from 2011, September 16th to 2012, 9/16th, every day is a party for me. Okay? I'm celebrating my 50th birthday. And how I'm going to celebrate my 50th birthday? By documenting everything Armenian on planet Earth. It might not finish by here, because Armenians believe in building roads in every diaspora. Here, see the myth of this diaspora? Megan bidiline gefter, I say Eshana. We are, we will, and we will turn into jackasses. It doesn't sound in English very well, but in Armenian it makes perfect sense. In Armenia, it's the same thing. Why? Because we are not realistic. We make irabash change. We don't look at reality today. We are so proud. By the way, in Egypt, in the year 4000 before Christ, there was a huge Armenian community. Let's make a research on it. And we spend money on that BS. By the way, you remember when we are in America, we came in 1900s, we built in America very good houses, places. Where are we right now? Worcester, Massachusetts. Who knows about Worcester, Massachusetts?
I live there.
Oh, you live there?
Yeah. I'm from
Okay. It was Glendale, Massachusetts, back in the 1900s. Today, it is just like El Monte type of thing. No Armenian lives in El Monte. Are there any Armenians in El Monte? Only 100 years. The first Armenian church was built in Worcester, Massachusetts, and then they sold that one to the Russians, and then they built in 1952. They only have like 50 to 70 people attend that church every Sunday if there is a good cooking. So, my experience, I tried to cross over. Because I'm a realist. I don't believe in myths. So I wanted to do this. The opportunity came to me when I was 49, back in December 2010. And it's been twice that this is my second time here back to the, okay, wherever you are is the fatherland, wherever you desire to be is the motherland. So right now I am in the fatherland, and I'm desiring to be in the motherland. Because at any time that you are in pain, you will never say, "Ach, Baba." You will say, "Ach, Mama." If somebody hits you, say, "Ay, Mama." You don't say, "Ach, Heidi." We always want to be in Armenia, but we decide to live here. So basically, what I do is, my plans are to travel the whole globe and document everything Armenian. So I'm making Armenia my epicenter. I documented US when I was here in 2009. And now, next year in April, I'll be documenting Europe. My road trip to Europe will be for 2 or 3 months, driving throughout Europe and documenting the Armenian in 2012, which is the 21st century. So, what do I do in Armenia? I'm an early person. I wake up around 6 or 7. I go on Facebook, it's like you're 6, 7 at night here. I put a comment there, make people angry, and then start doing my research about the locations and working on my book. I'm sure you guys have seen my book, yes we have,
Yes.
about how the US has become into a better country because Americans of Armenian descent have contributed and humanity is benefiting from it. The reason I created that book was because today, in the 21st century, we are the lowest denominators of any race in America. Those stupid Armenians, they count the system, they do this, they do that. Because negative is more powerful than positive. Negative connotation precedes anything positive you do. Everybody knows that I'm an Armenian basher, but nobody talks about what I do for the Armenian identity. Again, negative things are much persuaded, much more easily grabbed by human beings. So I created the book, yes we have. By November 11, it will be, the Armenian version will come out. It will have another 200 inputs. The first one was 124 inputs. This one will have another 300 inputs. Next year, the English edition will come up with like 500 inputs because I have lots of inputs. And being a smart businessman Armenian, what do? I release the English one. I sell 3,000–4,000 of them. Then I release the Armenian one next year. I add things on it. I sell another 3,000–4,000 of them. And then I do the English one again and I sell another one. That way I'll be able to conquer the whole planet and document. Because none of the higher education institutes in the US or any organization that the Gato is here right now from Antilles. The other con artist was here a few months ago from Armenia. At their banquets, the masterpiece, you know, like centerpieces. Probably at each of those banquets, they have spent over, I'm gonna say, what, $100 for a masterpiece, centerpiece. You ladies know about those things, arsenic, marsenic, you know those centerpieces, they spend like $75 to $100. If there's like 70 tables, that's almost like $7,000. Yeah? Let's say $5,000. I documented the whole US with $7,500, which I did not have. Why? Because I went on the road trip with $500, $600, and I sold, yes, we have the book throughout the trip. And I documented everything. If I go to, even to the Gato and I say to him, give me $7,000, I'm going to document Europe, Asians, inches. So instead of he telling me I'm Asian, I bash him from front, okay, up front. So now, in April 2012, I'll be touring the European countries and documenting everything Armenian in the 21st century. Why? Because in the 31st century, when still human beings will be around, but Armenians will not be around. Because probably in the next 200 years, there'll be a new race, and they're going to say our ancestors were Armenians. You guys don't like that. Can you make gun? Because it is a fact that we are losing numbers. We are losing numbers. On a daily basis, the planet is losing number of Armenians. But, before we came in, I was talking to some of the guys. I said, the Glendale Community College has been here for almost like, what, 80, 90 years. And every building that was created, nobody blessed the building. But it still exists and still giving students education. You guys are attending in the 21st century. It's going to continue having more students and such on. They're going to have more electronic labs, electronic computer-based education. You guys will no longer have instructors coming in talking to you. It's going to be on the wall. But it was never blessed. How come all the Armenian buildings who are blessed, within 50-year period, no Armenian exists there? So my experience in Armenia is I wake up early in the morning, I send that note in Facebook, just like this type of things that I say, and then put it aside, and then start doing my research on my books, because I'm going to come up with like 5 different books by the year 2015. Work till like 3-4 hours, and then go hoknim, working on the computer, you get tired. So I take a nap. I take a nap till like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Wake up, go on Facebook again, see who's mad at me. Read all those things, get excited. Sometimes answer, sometimes don't answer. And then go back on my research. And then like around 7-8 o'clock at night where the weather is much cooler, I just hit Yerevan and start walking around and enjoy Armenia. Enjoy. The word enjoy. Can you enjoy Armenia? Can you enjoy Armenia?
Yes.
How can you enjoy Armenia? You just go like for 2 weeks. I don't get the Scotsums in Armenia. I don't give a shit about Armenia. Yeah, record that. Use it. I don't give a shit about Armenia. I give a shit about my life. Because I'm a selfish bastard. Every person on this planet is a nationalist except an Armenian who is selfish. Remember, all those things I'm telling you about is not who I am, but it is the reality of our identity. My selfishness is being an Armenian, and I am the Armenian. Nobody can tell me I am not, because I choose to be. Am I speaking English and I'm an Armenian? Yeah. In 50 years, when China becomes the major power on planet Earth, we're going to have the same type of classes, and another the-Armenian will be around, because I'm going to die in the next 10 years. Another the-Armenian will be around, and he's going to say, and that's going to become our, because planet Earth is going to be dominated by that race, and then we Armenians are the first slaves to go to any place that major power is there. Okay? Am I BSing, or I'm telling you about this 7,000-year history? Professor Marashin, I took your history classes too. You guys will see in every history class about the Armenian identity and how we are repeating ourselves, doing the same mistake after another, the same mistake after another. Why are we doing it?
Habit. Success.
No. What did you say?
Success.
No. there is an Armenian word, which is a Turkish Arabic word that we are so proud of. Adate. Khasiyata, adate. Lately, I've seen this commercial in Los Angeles about this Armenian new bank opening up in Glendale. Have you seen the Armenian bank commercial? And then it's so stupid. Like, when I say Armenians are stupid, believe me, they are. In the commercial, it says, «Եվ որ աշխարհի ուր որա լինես, եւ լսես ջան փարը կհբարդանաս». See how idiots, how stupid we are. In Armenia, I told a lady, Sirelis, she goes, you can't tell me Sirelis. I said, how about Aziz? She goes, okay. We do the same thing here too. If I tell you Yankas, but when I tell you John, you accept me. It's not that they know, they don't know. We are an adat person. Մենք մեծ հայրս այդպես կսեր։ Որոնց ջիներում քո մեծ հայրը ինչ կսեր։ Տուն ինչ պիտի նայես եւ ասես։ Տուն քիրակցություն ունիս. Do you have the knowledge of what your grandfather or my grandfather was saying? Yes, they were good people, but they were not educated people. Armenians are getting, we are on planet Earth for 7,000 years. By the way, the latest finding in Urfa, in Turkey today, that 12,000-year-old society. Have you guys heard about it? No, they found these structures.
They call it like Göbekli Tepe or something. Göbekli Tepe?
Yeah,
that's what they call it.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's in Urfa, it's like proper Armenia. They found a 12,000-year ancient dwelling, society, whatever they would call it. But those are the lands that we lived in. So the claim was that, you know, Barbadian, there's an Armenian intellectual person called Barbadian. He's from France. He's coming actually to Los Angeles next week. I think he's giving lectures here in Glendale. In his research, he claims that we are like 12,000 years old. There's another Armenian individual gives our history like 12,000 years. So what I do being an Armenian, I'll take like half of that, 7,000. So I won't be wrong or I won't be right. So if we were 7,000 years old and we're continuing the same mistakes, one after another, and then we claim to be the smartest of all people on this planet because, I mean, I published a book by that, Jen. Yes, we have. I'm proving to each one of you guys how the automatic transmission is invented by this Armenian orphan who came from during the genocide, before the genocide, the Hamidian genocide. He grew up, he was 12, 13. He created the automatic transmission, and everybody on this planet is enjoying driving a car with an automatic transmission. Your hydraulic, the drive, the wheel, the hydraulic steering wheel, okay, is invented by the same guy. That's why Armenians they like to drive like this. Or like the ATM is invented by an Armenian guy. That's why we find lots of Armenian crooks using theft, identity theft, ID, whatever, the numbers and all those things. Yet, we are so smart, Chen. Yet our country is probably, outside of Yerevan, is one of the worst countries on this planet. Why? So let's not claim մենք աշխարհի ամենախելացիներն ենք. Եթե խելացի ենք, let's go back to Armenia and make it into the best country on this planet. Tomorrow, if 1 million diaspora Armenians come to Armenia, and I'm not talking about the stupid diaspora Armenians, okay? Which are educated, at least 10 years of social education. I'm not talking about PhDs, doctors, intellectuals. Those are idiots too. People who have social education, people who know how to deal with you, how to deal with you and how to deal with you without discriminating you and you because her father is a wealthy person. That's what life in Armenia is all about. If I'm wearing a $500 shirt, I am more respected than the 20 bucks of this shirt. So, and that's because it's an emerging society. It is a society comes from 70 years of Soviet Union where favoritism is very important. And you see, I see a bright future for Armenia because the level of students in Armenia, which I went and spoke to, are very intelligent, and they're more realistic than all those people who got their education during the Soviet era. So there is a future in Armenia. And when those people tomorrow go to Armenia without emotions, okay? Vay Hayastan, it's the same shit as Glendale Hope, nothing different from that hope to this hope. Okay? If those people go, Armenia will be backward another like 500 years. If people go to Armenia, leaving their beautiful hearts in Glendale, and taking their brains to Armenia, when a Muraskan comes to you from behind, because I left my heart in Glendale and I took my brains with me. Sorry for my Armenian. I mean, you guys know I'm like a person. I say, siktir yeris koves kana. Amoche. Somebody's coming to you and saying, yere kadavchi gunin duna anotiye yere gore jash che geratz. That same idiot, in 1 year period, he approached me 5 times. At different locations. At the end I said, Ish, As Moruka needs to tell you that this is the same guy. And I told him, I said, by the way, your daughters, they just died right now at home. Go back to your home. Because for 1 year, you've been telling me they're like 3 days they're hungry. It's the same sentence. It's not like, or like it's not like I have a son and a daughter, or I have 5 kids. It's the same 3 daughters. So the minute he realized I told him that, he didn't say anything, he left. There is another idiot in Armenia who wears he wears like a very aldot hapust, very dirty clothes. He has an almost a year-old baby on his shoulder. He's out around 11 o'clock in front of Marriott and Cascade, where all the tourists who come to Armenia with their heart. His wife is dressed very well. She walks another like 10 feet away from him. And he approaches. Let God help you. Help me to feed my child. My first reaction to him was, by the way, there is no God. Because why? I left my heart in Glendale. I took my brain to Armenia. I said, there is no God. And I'm a controversial person. The only reason they call me controversial is because the only myth in the Armenian society about God existence, there's this idiot, Stepan Partamian, who says God does not exist. Tomorrow, if I say God exists, I could become the president of the diaspora Armenians. In a few years, I become president of Armenians all around the world. Okay? So I told him God does not exist. And then I told him, by the way, if God exists, He would never give you this child for you to take him on your shoulder at 12 o'clock midnight and start begging people for money. Suddenly, his wife, very nicely dressed up with her bag and everything, incha sits. So, if you go with your heart to Armenia, then definitely this guy is going to take your 1,000 taram, 5,000 taram, $100 or whatever. Now, when you go to Armenia with your heart and you take a taxi, which is the cheapest thing in Armenia, 600 tarams, which is almost like $1.50 or $1.70, takes you to any place in Armenia. Like,
Yerevan.
In Yerevan, yeah. But in the same concept, it's 100 tarams for every kilometer. So, people ask me, did you bring a car with you to Armenia? I said, I don't have money to bring a car. But every car in Armenia is mine because I paid that 100 taram, 600 minimum and 100 taram, I can go to any place. When people saw me in Armenia, they go, where did you buy your house? I said, I have no money to buy a house. So they walk away from it. You were asking me how am I and all those things. Now that you know that I have no money to buy a house, you don't like to talk to me. Because everything in Armenia is based on So, first time I hire a cab, I give him 1,000 taram, which is the paper, I'm expecting for him to give me 400 dirham back. Because, by the way, I went to Armenia with $500 in my pocket. To all those people who say, Tramov kanat, Amerikayen, I am not ashamed. For 30 years I've been living in the US. When I left to Armenia, I had nothing except $500. Because I paid everything to my ex so that I can get my passports. People who have watched my show, they know about my story. So I went to Armenia with 500 dirhams. But I'm not a stupid Armenian. I have sell books, I have CDs, I have some things that Amis Inzi $1,000 in my account at BOFA here. I have my Versatel, I go to Converse Bank in Armenia ATM. I pull $400 each time that I can do that. They charge me $4 in Armenia, $5 Bank of America, so $9 and I can survive. And there was a time that I didn't have $1 in my pocket for 2 weeks in Armenia. So life in Armenia is exactly as the same life in Glendale. So this guy, he goes, go back to him. I said, okay, 12 minutes. Now, as much as I'm an idiot, but since I don't have a heart and I have a brain, so next time around, what do? I give 1,000 dirham. The minute I see the guy goes to his change unit to give me the 400 dirhams, I tell him keep it. The minute he tells me I don't have change, I say give me 1,000, here I have 600 dirhams. So if 1 million Armenians who use their brains and not their heart do the same thing in Armenia, that country becomes into a better country instead of Garkatrel. It becomes a society of everybody together trying to do something to preserve and protect one of the nicest locations for me. As much as it is like so backwarded, I love living in Armenia. So again, it is very important, diaspora heart, Armenia brain. It doesn't mean that Armenians have brains in Armenia. They don't. Am I harsh? But that's reality. They have myths. Anybody who believes in myths cannot have a brain. Unfortunately, we Armenians do the same thing. We have Bartam Mamigonian, we have Kikol Lusaboric, we have Astvat, Jesus, Mariam, but we don't have brains. We have good hearts. But since 1991, when Armenia became independent, for whatever value of independence, some people might say it didn't become independent, some people would say it did, but it is the Republic of Armenia has a seat in the United Nations, represented as a country in this world who has 2-3 million people residing in it. We cannot use our hearts. Պետականությունը կբարգացրե, որ ուղեղ կործածես եւ ոչ թե սկացում. When you go to the field to fight, you can't say, oh, I can't kill that person because if you don't kill him, he's going to kill you and become the owner of your property. Che? You might do the same thing if somebody tries to steal your car because you utilize your brain, but not your heart. So Armenia needs more diaspora Armenians who have brains. And when I say brains, it doesn't mean that you're a mathematician, you're a philosopher, you are a doctor, a lawyer. No. Those brains have destroyed the Armenian identity in the diaspora for the longest of time. And again, the myth about each other. They honored few individuals in Los Angeles where the president came and gave him a medal. In Armenia, they praised the guy who received the medal as a paregar, somebody who donates money. That guy in his whole life has never given one dime. He has collected more money from the community with his business, but has never given back to the community. But in Armenia, they announced that he is a paregar. So, my life in Armenia is this. Wake up, go on Facebook, throw something, go on, do my research for 5-6 hours, the books will come up gradually, take a nap in the afternoon, wake up in the evening, go bar hopping till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Can you guys do that thing here? You might be able to do it, but it's going to cost you lots of money. Me with my $1,000 a month, $500 for my apartment rent, and I live in a nice neighborhood, I could choose to pay $200 and live further away. But because I'm a 50-year-old man and I'm an intelligent man, I have made sure that I have $1,000 coming to me without me working here. So I enjoy Armenia. So, any questions? What's up, Jamal? Okay, here I got 2 questions. I guess short questions. Or ask me questions. You had a question to ask.
Yeah, well, I did, but I feel like I have many questions now.
There you go. It's another book.
Right. I just got back from Armenia. I was living there for almost a year. Well, that one of it. And I'm gonna go back and go in a few months. I'm gonna live there for quite some time. The thing is that I want to talk about how pathetic the situation is in Armenia,
Okay.
and I want to talk about the socioeconomic conditions of that country. And I went and I studied there at the AUA. It's a graduate school. And I want to talk about diaspora in Armenia. Unfortunately, the diaspora is growing exponentially year after year. People do not want to stay in Armenia. And I agree with you. Armenia needs hands. And not just native hands, it needs diaspora hands.
Well, Armenia doesn't need just diaspora hands. It needs people who are content with nothing. See, the unfortunate situation in Armenia is people look at you with your possessions. Yeah, her phone is better than my phone. I mean, I went to villages giving out, there's an organization, there's an Armenian women's shelter just opened up in...
The Women's Resource Center.
No, not the International Women's Organization. There's a Paros Lighthouse Foundation that's been working there for 10 years. And in August they opened a 15-unit women's shelter. There are 3 babies there right now with 4 mothers. I mean, one is not, she hasn't had her baby yet. They've been existing there for so. So I went, because my mission in Armenia is to go after all those organizations who claim they're doing things and asking for your money, to just present them to you with what they are. So I went to villages with this organization because what they do is they go out and give clothes. They ask the Kurabed, who are the poor people in your village? He sends a list, family members, so this organization what does, collects clothing and food and takes them to them. But before they hand out those things, they gather all the village people at the Kalkabedaran and they announce, no man has the right to touch you or hit you as a woman because you have your rights. Here's our brochure, there's information here. They've been doing it for 2-3 years and suddenly it has become into this Armenian thing, you know, one person opened up a grocery store, every other Armenian wants to open up a grocery store. So in Armenia right now there are 2 diaspora Armenian, 2 other organizations well known. They're trying to open up women's shelter and they're collecting money. And one of their leaders went to this organization and said, because this organization keeps the mother and the child till 2 years old. They can stay there for 2 years. They teach them different vocational things so that when they leave that place, they could be able to sustain their own life. So this organization leader who wants to open up a new women's shelter, she goes, you should keep them for 3 months and then throw them away. And they're here right now collecting money from you. They just had few events. They want to open up women's shelter, abuse women. So this is how unfortunate Armenians are in diaspora because they go with their heart. So when I went to the villages, when we're giving out those clothes, every villager had a cell phone. Even the dadik who had no teeth in her mouth, she had a cell phone, she was talking. When I went to those villages, I saw a laundry line, Shipshakova's satellite dish, huge satellite dish. It is the same value for the satellite dish to buy a laundry machine. It is a choice. They choose to have the satellite machine to watch television, to become couch potatoes, then to buy a laundry machine to do the laundry with the laundry machine. So it is their choice. So, and then one more thing. And at any given day, go to Colorado between Brand and Glendale Avenue, the National Guard. There are lots of poor Glendalians, American Glendalians, who are there waiting for somebody to hand them food. And the National Guard utilizes their facility to house those people. Do we care about them? No. So why do I care about a hungry Armenian in Armenia? Because it is a choice again for them. They're getting good money from over here, so Chenashkadi. By the way, females in Armenia, as much as I love Armenians, but I love female Armenians more than I love Armenians. Okay? They are so beautiful. They have brains. They're getting educated. At any given time, take an Armenian male in Armenia, an Armenian female, she's at least 15 years ahead of him. In intellect, in being real in their life, knowing where they are and what they want to do. An Armenian man in Armenia, with an Armenian female who has a PhD or who has just a high school graduate degree because she has to go work someplace after high school to feed her family. You can sit down and talk to them. You can be real with them.
Oh, yeah. At this moment, with the diaspora, I feel like they're so steeped in a sense of nostalgia. It's not pragmatic whatsoever. If we talk about organizations like the ANC and whatnot, telethons, all they're very good at is they're pinpointing pockets, right? This is what it's about. They send millions upon millions of dollars to the motherland. But all I saw when I went to the motherland is Dodigalos, Vatican-like palaces.
Well, it's common. You go to Beverly Hills right now here, you'll find somebody, give me a name in any business, who has a $30 million mansion in Beverly Hills. Armenians need to have that thing. One day on my show, I said, and it created the big commotion, I said, any country that has a whore, a prostitute, sorry, not a whore, a prostitute, at the same time has a gatoegos, that's a complete country. We as Armenians, we can't just say, մենք սուպ երգիրենք, էջմիածին ունենք որ աշխարհը չունի. No. We have prostitutes in Armenia. We have a gatoegos is more than a problem. Because the claim was that I said the gatoegos was prostitute, but it was this biggest commotion. They threatened me, Chimkidevich, but I don't know. I said, any country that has a prostitute and a gatoegos is a complete country. Armenia needs to have Dodi Gaga. Armenia needs to have a Stepan Partamian with his $400 in his pocket. Walking in Yerevan and everybody thinking that Stepan Partamian comes from America. Oh, like pohone. And on the other hand, you have, those are more males. Females don't sit down and talk to you. It's not that because they see a potential husband with a US passport, because everybody knows and I have done it, and I don't get married again. I just enjoy life. Okay, so again, it is very important. Heart and brain. Let's divide ourselves between those two. You choose to have your heart in Armenia, you are doomed to be Garkatrevil. You choose, you take your brain with you, okay, then you don't utilize your heart, and then don't get involved with them. If anybody comes over here, would you guys let them involved in your life here? No. So don't get involved in their lives. Yes, Ara?
Okay. I was going to let him go ahead of me, but that's fine. This is about heart and brain also. A few months ago, you ran a whole series of pictures on your Facebook page regarding Udumen in reference to the All Armenia Fund and the allegations of money being eaten and so
I showed
on.
all those beautiful kids that
And those beautiful kids that you photoshopped and looked nice and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they were beautiful before
They
my
were,
Photoshop.
yeah. But a lot of the
My
features
Photoshop just made them more.
a lot of features disappeared from their faces when you did Photoshop them, though, on a few of them. Anyway, my question is, we talked about Udumen, but you're a staunch supporter, or would you qualify yourself as a staunch supporter of the All Armenia Fund?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that as much as All Armenia Fund is doing this last 5 years, is building the infrastructure, that is very important. Just as when the US government launched a war against Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, and then we find out that, what, $40 trillion have been embezzled, well, nobody's doing anything. Armenia Fund in the last 5 years is doing the right thing. In the past, they have done, because in the past, the leadership was the Soviet era educated Armenians, who are still some of them in different sectors of Armenia are benefiting from their powers. But in Armenia Fund right now, I believe, I've seen in my own eyes, I travel to all those places, and in the future on my show, I'm going to show videos, not pictures. I'm 100% behind.
Okay. So my question is this. Recently, I wrote an article regarding the old age home in Stepanakert.
Yes.
It's a facility which Luis Manugan Simon had remodeled for $400,000 back in 1999. I had somebody go out there before the Armenia Fund put a finger on it, or almost hadn't put a finger on it, and they discovered that there was nothing wrong with this retirement home based on the description that the All Armenia Fund had given. No heating system, water pipes, roof, Chempiderinch, and I have all the pictures. I published those. Now the All Armenia Fund has gone in there and they've actually taken off all the outer cement and they've moved all the old people over to one side and so on. Basically, they're doing redundant work. Now, this is just one example. of
I have no
three-
idea about
Okay.
how redundant that work is, but when I go back, I'll check it and let you
Yeah.
know. Just as, let me tell you something, AGVU a few years ago, Los Angeles AGVU claimed that they have built a village on the borderline in Artsakh.
I've been there, no Russian.
I don't know if that one, which like, they collected money and they did a big hoopla. The first winter when it came, all those buildings that they built were destroyed.
Correct.
But
Sangha
here
Babayan
everybody
did the
said
same
that
thing. I
they
saw
spend
some
the
of
money.
that.
But Armenian Fund right now, I mean, I'm involved there since the beginning.
Right.
Okay? I'm not on their payroll. I do things for the Armenian Fund Telethon. I get paid, just like right now, I'm spending like $6,000 and they're paying for they're paying me my wages for 3 months, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, which I pay for my apartment, my car, and I'm being here, and I'm working something I can get minimum $25,000 to $30,000.
My question is, but what is your opinion on if in fact this is redundant and it wasn't
I'll
necessary
be the
and it's a
first one to
scam?
come out and say,
Okay.
when I go back, I'm going to go back to that particular, just because of you all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to ask Armenia Fund. I'm not going to go on my own. I'm going to ask them to give me a driver because it's like so far I can't afford that.
I can give you my driver if you want. I'll arrange it.
Okay, I'll go and check it out, and I'll be the first to report on it.
Okay.
Just like I reported on this Parvus Lighthouse Foundation, because I get mad when I see the Tüfekcan Foundation and the International Women's Association, they're making this big hoopla about building women's shelter in Armenia, about abused women's shelter, when there's existing one already. It has 4 rooms occupied, there are 10 more rooms empty right now.
Right.
Okay? Why build another one just to say that I built another one? Let them support that one. They're doing it. Those husband and wife, they're doing it from their own pocket. They're just starting to solicit money right now because those babies with their diapers and their food is costing them a lot.
Right. And just on a side note, have you read my white paper that I wrote?
I wrote, must have.
Must.
I'm not a good reader. I'm a good talker. And
Yeah.
the way I do things is I read like the first part, the middle, and the last.
Oh, so you got the last part, the appendix then. That's the best part.
Okay. Yes.
I have a quick question regarding your diaspora and Armenia parallel. What is your stance on Artsakh and this conflict with Azerbaijan and the diaspora?
Okay. Thank you for reminding me of that. I had a show in Armenia on Yergir Media for 10 weeks. Because everybody in Los Angeles said, so just for the sake, because I like to affirm people that I can do whatever I do, because I'm not the person who's putting Armenians down. I'm just awakening people. So I had 10 shows on Yergir Media, and my first show, I said, Hayastani meç hayeren Czech olsun. You don't speak Armenian in Armenia. And I had my interview with Mesro Mashkins. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
The interview with Mesro Mashkins. Okay, this Sunday on ART and Shant, I have my show 7:30 to 8 o'clock on ART and Shant, and then 9:30 to 10 o'clock on KVMD. I'm talking to Gomita Sparta. Because the second show I said, so somebody from Syria contacted Yergir Media saying, this guy doesn't know how to speak Armenian. So the third show I go on there and I say, in 1991 Armenia became independent. In 94 ceasefire in Artsakh. No land will be given away and no land will be taken away from us. I am sure on that. But Armenians lost the war. But which war? Because in 91 we became independent, in 94 when Artsakh became in a ceasefire mode, the enemy knew how to put us on our knees by destroying our culture. Armenia has no culture today. And I go on the air and I say this, and I said to the lady in Syria who thinks she's the intellectual, I'm telling you, right now is the time for all the intellectuals from all over the world. Հայերեն խոսող, թողքան Հայաստան, քանի բادرազմը արդեն սկսած է, գործընթացած է Հայաստանի մեջ between association, intonation, concrete, real, action, all those things, we are losing our identity. In 1923, there was a book published by Ajarian called Hayeren Armadagan Pararan, which takes the words to its origins. With the Soviet spelling and the new words that we're using in Armenia, we can exist only for 100 years only. Because when you tell an Armenian, what is Engeratsuchun, Engeruchun, they say, inch parya diga. Say, inch որ օգտագործում ես association, they say, Engeruchun par koyuchun chuni. So, Engeruchun comes from the word Enger. Enger comes from the word goes back 3,000 years from the Roman era. It says to eat together. There's a definition of the word enger. But when in Armenian you say asociația, where is the definition? Who are you? You're just a bunch of gypsies who try to be on this land, and you're taking everybody's words from John, Achber, and all those things, and now you're taking asociația, and you claim to be the smartest of all people on this planet. So Armenians right now, we are at a stage of war, and the war is the cultural war. Thank you. Чёткие. Точнее, это чёткие. Вообще,